That sentence contains something important about the democratic tradition we inherited. Democracy does not require people in power to enjoy criticism. It requires us to accept the legitimacy of criticism. Those of us in government will sometimes think journalists are unfair. Sometimes we will think you have misunderstood us. And occasionally we may even be right. But governments and journalists are not supposed to agree all the time. If they do, citizens should probably start worrying. Journalism performs one of democracy's most necessary functions. It makes power explain itself. There was a time when the office of the editor itself carried extraordinary weight in India. One distinguished editor famously described his position as the second most important job in the country. Perhaps that contained a little journalistic modesty. But the remarkable thing is that people understood what he meant. An editor could influence the national conversation. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka, just now, Sri Ramji also mentioned about the incident. I would like to quote the same kind of. A proprietor like Ramnath Goenka could take on governments and prime ministers through the power of his newspaper. The press could make governments uncomfortable. We should ask ourselves as difficult questions today. Can the editor of a newspaper still make that claim today? Not that he or she is the second most important person in India. That was perhaps always a little hubristic. But does the institution command the same authority? And if it does not, why not? Part of the answer is that journalism itself has changed. News organizations have to survive commercially. There is nothing wrong with that. Journalists need salaries. Newspapers need investment, technology, cost money. But journalism cannot become only a trade. Because a newspaper is selling a product, but it is also performing public function. The danger begins when we confuse the two. A newspaper must have a market, but journalism must have a purpose. That purpose is to inform the citizen. Question power, uncover what is hidden, and give space to voices that otherwise may not be heard. That was true in Dadabhai's time. That was true in Tilak's time. That was true in Ambedkar's time. That was true in Gandhi's time. That was true in many decades in this country. It remains true even today also. And today the challenge is even greater. For most of human history, information was scarce. Now we are drowning in it. Social media has democratized speech in an extraordinary way. Anyone with a smartphone can speak to the world. That is, in many ways, a great expansion of freedom. But freedom has never meant the absence of responsibility. There is an old saying about liberty. My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. The same principle must surely have some meaning in the digital world also. My freedom to speak cannot become a license to deliberately destroy another person's reputation with a falsehood. Freedom of expression cannot mean freedom from responsibility for what we express. And technology has made this challenge far more complicated. A rumor can cross India before a reporter has finished checking with whether it is true or not. A photograph can be manufactured. A voice can be cloned. Artificial intelligence can generate thousands of convincing words in seconds. And algorithms increasingly decide which voices are amplified and which are not. The loudest statement, the angriest statement, sometimes even the most outrageous statement can travel the farthest, not because it is true, but because it keeps us looking at the screen. Technology has democratized the rights to speak. It has not democratized the discipline of journalism. So the great shortage of our age is no longer information. The shortage is trust. And that may also be journalism's greatest opportunity. Because when everybody can publish, the journalist's most valuable position is no longer the printing press, its credibility. But we cannot defend journalism without defending journalists. We cannot ask a district reporter to fearlessly question powerful people while wondering whether his salary will arrive. We cannot speak eloquently about press freedom while ignoring the safety, dignity, and working conditions of those who practice it. I'm here, and also I'm therefore glad that this federation has placed the welfare of and protection of journalists among its objectives. And I hope you will pay a particular attention to journalists outside our metropolitan centers. A reporter in a district or a small town is often the first person to tell government that a school teacher has no attendance and a school has no teacher. A hospital has no doctor, a scheme has failed, or a citizen has simply been forgotten. For a government prepared to listen. A good reporter is sometimes the best early warning system we have. Friends, technologies will change. Business models will change. Platforms will come and go. Governments certainly will come and go. But some things do not change. Power will always need scrutiny. Citizens will always need facts. And democracy will always need people willing to ask uncomfortable questions. So my request to this new federation is, do not merely become another organization. Become an institution. Defend journalists, defend professional standards, and defend journalism as something more than a commercial enterprise. Nearly 8 decades ago, Nehru told a cartoonist, which I have already mentioned, and again I would like to mention it again, don't spare me, Shankar. Perhaps that remains a good compact between journalism and public life. Do not spare those in power, but do not spare yourselves either. Hold us to account. Hold yourselves to your standards and let the citizen be the beneficiary of truth. The both. Telangana has always been a land where people speak their minds. The basic trait of Telangana is to express what we feel, plainly and without fear. is part of our character and has shaped our movements, our literature, and our culture. Our government respects that tradition. Freedom of expression carries great weight in Telangana, and those of us in public life must have the confidence to hear voices that disagree with us. So when Nehru said, "Don't spare me, Shankar," we understand the spirit of those words. Speak freely, question freely, and let those in power have the courage to listen. It gives me great pleasure to formally launch the Federation of Press Club here in Hyderabad. And I wish this federation becomes a great success and gives a light to the freedom of expression in this country, and many more the requirements of the journalists. The federation will take care of all those things with a proper institutionalized activities. And once again, I wanted to make it very clear to the press clubs who all have come from all over the country. The Telangana's, it has two basic main traits. Those two traits are, one is it expresses everything without any fear. And the second trait is it believes in hosting. It loves to host the guests. And we always practice that. And we believe it, and we continue that. And the Press Club of Hyderabad, I appreciate for taking the initiative of inviting all the press clubs to this city and conducting this meeting. And definitely this government, on behalf of my Chief Minister and the entire cabinet, we assure you the freedom of expression is maintained, and it will be maintained. And another request, while Srinivas Reddy was speaking, he made a small request about the land allotment to the Press Club of Hyderabad. Yes, we have already received the representation and it is under examination, and I can definitely assure you here the government will positively consider it at the earliest, and we'll see to that, our press club, Hyderabad Press Club, is going to be a model press club for this country. Thank you very much, sir. And Jai Hind and Jai Telangana.
We express our deep gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Bhatti Vikramarka Garu, for his powerful reminders about the history of media and journalism in India, and also for the direction
and the promise and the hope that his words have brought to us today.